We're going to turn now to Algeria, which is facing its own repercussions from this conflict in Mali after militants took 132 foreign hostages at a natural gas complex in the country's east. At least 37 of the foreigners were killed in the standoff between the militants and Algeria's military.
The incident has raised fears in Europe about the targeting of foreign-owned assets across the region. On assignment, Martin Seacrest spoke with reporter Henry Ridgwell in London. For more, let's check this out.
Well, it did draw worldwide attention, and it has to be said that details are still quite sketchy, really, because of the remoteness of the location where the attack took place. It was at the In Amenas gas plant in Algeria, right in the middle of the Sahara Desert on the Libyan border. It appears that several trucks full of up to 50 or more gunmen rolled up to the plant and initially tried to attack buses which were carrying workers from their living quarters to the actual plant itself. And when that attack was foiled and the workers managed to escape, they then went on to attack the living quarters and the gas site itself. Over the course of 3 or so days, many of the hostages managed to escape by scaling the fence, cutting holes in the fence. It's a sprawling plant, so obviously the gunmen weren't able to control all of it. And then the finale was the Algerian special forces decided to go in and attack the militants. About 5 of the gunmen were arrested.
British Prime Minister David Cameron postponed a key speech on Europe after chairing an emergency meeting with ministers. He briefed Parliament.
I offered UK technical and intelligence support, including from experts in hostage negotiation and rescue, to help find a successful resolution. And I urged that we and other countries affected should be consulted before any action was taken.
Observers say that the diplomatic language masks the anger in European capitals and beyond over the way Algeria has handled the hostage crisis.
Clearly, the business community in the UK, where you are, and also in Europe, has reacted to this as well as obviously everyone else. But is there a feeling of widespread great unease in the business community about future possible situations like this?
There is, simply because there is so much money invested in this part of the world. Let's take Algeria just by itself. The hydrocarbon industry accounts for about 98%, according to its own government figures, of the economy. And up till now, few of these plants, few of these hydrocarbon extraction plants or mines or so on had been targeted by militants. Of course, the presence of militants in the area has been an ongoing problem. But this latest attack has shaken the City of London and other financial centres across Europe and the West. In boardrooms, in Shell and BP and other big companies, they're asking themselves whether the risks are too high to remain in these sorts of areas.
The loss of a facility is one thing, but losing 20% of your share price is a completely different situation. And I think that for a lot of people in the major boardrooms not far from here in central London, there's some serious discussions going on about long-term implications. This is not a problem that's going to go away in 3 weeks or in 3 months.
British oil giant BP, the co-operator of the In Amenas gas plant, has begun pulling out non-essential workers from Algeria. David Rubens says the French military intervention in Mali, which the attackers say prompted their action, has raised the stakes across the region.
I think the likelihood of an attack of this nature being made on a facility of this nature had to be considered a possibility.
Henry, British Petroleum was a co-operator of that plant in Algeria, and now they have already removed some of their workers from the country. Obviously, if a trend like this were to continue, and BP were to pull out, as well as other companies, you get a ripple effect economically across the region, right?
Yeah, it would. A huge impact on the local economies in these sorts of countries. So far, they're being contained. BP has withdrawn all its non-essential workers from its plants in Algeria. I think the hope is that once the hysteria calms down a little bit, these non-essential workers can be put back in place in Algeria, and security likely to remain tight for many months and many years ahead, because everyone here believes that while this may have been a one-off attack, for the moment, the problem of targeting big companies like this, big state-owned and big private companies in remote locations like the Sahara, isn't going to go away anytime soon.
Henry Ridgwell reports for VOA from our London bureau.